should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. This should be played at high volume. Preferably in a residential area.
The following thoughts on Hoppe Hour do not represent Cox Media Group or its sponsoring. Anything you hear may and will be used against you. Thank you. Voted as best local podcast in Tampa Bay by the Creative Loafing. You're listening to Hoppe Hour.
What up? What's happening? This is Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. And on the phone line is a guy I've known for about 3 years now, is comedian Chad Zumock, who will be featured May 12th on Gotham Comedy Live, as he is right now driving up to New York City to be featured on AXS-TV. What's up, dude?
Hello, Ryan Hoppe Hour. Now, did you, let me get this straight. It's called Hoppe Hour.
Yes.
So you changed happy to Hoppe.
Yeah.
Am I get?
Yeah.
Oh, you're like Weird Al Yankovic. You got your own twist on things.
Get it? I took the A and the Y out, and then I put O and E, so then it's Hoppe Hour. Get it? Like, you know how happy hour is at 5 p.m.? Well, it's about me for an hour. Get it?
I get it. Branding. You're doing it.
And some people might say in Cleveland that it gets 70 downloads, which is very off. But whatever, man. You know what I mean? Like, any exposure for the show, I'll take, you know?
No, dude, I see on Facebook all the guests you book. It's unbelievable. You should be producing a show somewhere. I mean, you got Jim Norton. You get all these great comics there. I mean, you're doing a great job, man.
I appreciate it, dude. And what I like about you is you've always been in comedy, so I'm not going to use the word comeback. I'll use the word reinvent. It seems like you're beginning to reinvent yourself. Can I agree with that?
Well, I've changed. I guess you want to call it reinvent. I've changed. I'm a lot different than what I was 3 years ago as a comedian, and more importantly, as a person. So, go ahead, use reinvent. That sounds awesome. Sounds like I'm important.
In what way have you changed as a person over the years?
Well, I've went through a lot of trauma with my life, and I'll talk to you about it because I'm sure there's some Cleveland people that want to, might be interested. I don't know.
Yeah, but, maybe a few.
Yeah. So, I went through a tough. I mean, it's very publicized. We've talked about it before about when I lost my afternoon job over at WMMS in Cleveland. It was a very hard, difficult time for me because, I was facing a legal situation. My whole world just got flipped upside down, and it was, it was in the public eye. So everyone was weighing in on it from both sides. There was friendships divided. There were people, there were a lot of rumors that weren't true, and I just never had that type of exposure to anything, good or bad, and it was overwhelming. And I was going through a tough time, man, and I started drinking more. You would think after being charged with a DUI, you would stop drinking, but no, that I kept going because I was self-medicating. I was depressed. I was so depressed, and I was in shock. I was in trauma. I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to cope, and luckily I took a plea bargain on that. And the only reason I did that is just because I didn't have any money. The court systems just take so much of your money, and I was in a bad spot. So I went through a difficult couple of years, and I'm happy where I am at today. I'm very fortunate, and I'm very grateful because I had some amazing people step up. And they're like, Zumock, you're throwing your life away. You need to get your shit together, and you need to focus. And they helped me, and I went to rehab for 60 days. I don't know if I ever told you that.
I never knew that.
Yeah, well, I didn't really talk about it at first because, I'm not on the radio anymore. So and now when I talk about stuff on stage, I want to make it funny and not sad. So now I'm talking about it on stage, and I'm comfortable with it because it saved my life. I was killing myself. I literally was killing myself, and I learned a lot about my problems. I learned about dealing with the trauma, the depression. I had a brother who was 9 who was killed. I've talked about it before, but a car ran him over, and I realized I never properly dealt with that. And, I come from an abusive household, so I got my ass kicked all the time by a stepfather. Never dealt with that. And it just made sense in my behavior and how I was going out, talking to people, interacting with people, my relationships. They were all, I grew up in, okay, best analogy I can use. I was trying to run a marathon with a broken leg, and I had to stop, go get physical therapy, let it heal, and learn to walk again. That makes sense.
What I like about you, too, is you then just put all your negative energy into comedy, which is the same thing I do. My dad passed away 15 months ago. My cat of 17 years passed away last July. I've gone through medicine changes. I got fired from a dream job that I thought at the point was one in Cleveland. I've had all this happen in the last 18 months. So I put my heart and my soul into my show, which it seems like is the same thing you do. Wouldn't you agree that fighting adversity sometimes leads to the best content?
Well, yeah. What's funny is I was having moments of clarity during my depression, but I would do well and I'd fall back down.
Me too.
Take 2 steps forward and I'd take 20 steps back. So I really had to go away and get my head together. And I've never been medicated, like with medicine. So I'm taking Lexapro right now, and it's because there's chemicals in your head, and they do. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know what the hell half of this stuff does, but game changer, Lexapro, dude. I tell you what, I wish I would have known about this when I was a kid because it's changed my life. This medicine,
dude. I used to take that. I have taken 30 pills in my life. I was a test rat as a kid trying to figure out how to help my ADD, my ADHD, and my bipolar. And now I take Klonopin, and I would say I'm at an all-time high where I feel confident about myself. Isn't it amazing how you can take one little pill, drink the water in the morning, and then all of a sudden you're a new man?
And, I never wanted to be dependent on medicine, and I always kind of frowned upon it, like I don't need that, whatever. But yet then I go drink a bottle of Jaeger or a bottle of vodka, no problem. No problem. So, no, but I started taking, go to counseling and taking Lexapro, and obviously stopping drinking was huge because I was pouring depression on my depression. I was just constantly in a state of depression, and I didn't realize how bad. My head was marinating in vodka, so I was just toxic. I was completely toxic, and looking back on it now, I just can't even believe where I was and where I'm going. And one of the silver linings is you were saying how you put all your energy into your podcast. I didn't really work all that hard I worked hard on my old radio show because I was really wanting to make that a good thing. I wanted to be something I was proud of. But I never really worked at my stand-up. I just kind of did it. I'd do it every now and then. And then I read an article on Chris Rock about when Chris Rock got fired from Saturday Night Live. He had nothing going for him. No movies, no agent, nothing. So what he did is he went he dove into stand-up comedy and every day just grinded open mic after open mic, show after show, writing, only hung out with comedians. And then he came out with a special, Bring the Pain, which is probably one of the top 10 comedy specials of all time, in my opinion. And it changed Chris Rock from that day forward. So I kind of took that story and applied it. I went right back into stand-up. I started writing again. I started taking it serious. I was going on stage sober for the first time in, 12 years, and it was just it was a game changer. It really changed everything.
I think, Chad, I've been meditating lately, going to the beach, trying to figure out who I am as a person. I truly believe during my time at Rover's Morning Glory that I was an alcoholic. Every weekend I was getting blackout drunk, and that led to my firing, which I've talked about. You can read about it on Reddit. My point is, wouldn't you agree that when you reach the lowest of the low, getting a DUI and then getting fired from MMS, me getting drunk on St. Patrick's Day and then getting fired from WMMS, it's weird how when you get fired from that building, it makes you realize what you need to do with your life. You know what I mean?
Well, looking back on it now, I can honestly say with, clarity and a good, healthy state of mind that it just wasn't a healthy place to be. At the time, you think you're happy, but you're really not. And I didn't realize how miserable I was in my work experience. I really am over it. I can't explain to you how much I don't care. I just don't care. I know a lot of things have been said. It's so behind me. But going back to your point, you're young, man. You were a young guy, so you're still trying to figure it out, not just career-wise, but just life. So that just wasn't a good fit for you. It was very toxic, and it's sad that you were taking advantage the way you did. But you learned something. I mean, like you said, you're in Tampa. You're in a better market. There's girls everywhere in Tampa. Mike Keltis show is. If you ask any comedian in the country, they love Mike Keltis show. So he has such a good reputation. It's a good station. So you never look back, dude. You're doing exactly what you need to do.
Now, Mike Calta, Rob, Mike Olivero, my boss for promotions, the various other people here at The Bone and in promotions have taken me under my wing and have given me a second chance. With you, man, who have been some people that have helped refuel the fire in you and have helped this new persona of Chad Zumock over the last 2 years?
I mean, I'll shout it from the mountaintops. Jim Florentine has been my big brother. That guy has done so many amazing things for me. He's never given up on me, and we've gotten closer as friends, not just coworkers. We're like really good friends now, and that guy's he's just a good human being, a good dude. But I got some good friends in my life. The cool thing about when I left my old job is it was a good way of cleaning the closet and getting rid of people. I had a lot of toxic people in my life, a lot of people that didn't have my best interest in mind. I just had to start. I wiped out so many people, and I made my circle tighter. And it was, and it's great. It was the best thing for me because I had a lot of people who like me for a certain reason, or I can get them something, or I can help them out some way, or just people there were a lot of opportunists when I was down, and people want to pile on because they want to feel a part of something, and they just people will manipulate the truth, manipulate perception of someone, and that's what was happening, and it was an ugly period. But again, I have good people in my life, and honestly, I don't care what anybody else says about me. You can't think that way. Now, if Jim Florentine had a problem with me, that would hurt. If somebody like super talented, like Howard Stern, had a problem with me, that would hurt.
Yeah.
Anybody else, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like if you're a close friend and you have a problem, that's going to stay. But if you're just some internet troll or some idiot who's jealous and just wants to hurt people, it doesn't matter.
And what I have come to realize, too, is the people that matter in life are the people that are real and the people that admit that they have skeletons in the closet and the people that are original and don't take material in the way that you should keep your circle small. You know what I mean? When I first went into radio, I wanted everyone to know who I am, and that's sort of happened. But isn't it weird as you go along in your entertainment career, you learn that you need to watch your back 24/7?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I've learned so much, good and bad. But I also realize I don't want to be on a reality show, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I believe in the art of stand-up, the joke structure. I believe in originality. I believe in trying to push boundaries and do something different. I don't like when people just parrot something or steal something or take something and just, I want original content. Like Prince just died. Prince was one of the most, the guy was a pioneer. That guy revolutionized style, music. He pushed boundaries. And there's a reason why everyone's mourning him right now. There's a reason why his songs right now are like being downloaded left and right more than any other music out there, is because this guy was just so original and he was so talented. And, that's what I want to do. I want to inspire other people with my art, which is stand-up. It sounds silly because it's dick jokes, but I really, if you listen to some good stand-ups like Dave Attell or just some really Louis C.K., I mean, these guys are just really on another level, and I want to be there someday, and that's what I want to do.
I think comedians are some of the most underlooked people in entertainment. It takes balls to go in front of a crowd, and it takes years of practice to even get decent at it. I don't think comics get enough credit, if it's dick jokes or if it's not, to go up there and make people laugh, And
it seems like it's an easy thing to do, just jump on there and tell jokes, but as I go, I'm in my 13th year now, and I'm just getting started because I wasted a lot of years because when I initially got into stand-up, I just thought, oh, this is fun, man, because I I want attention, and I want to meet girls, and it just seemed like cool, and I was living in L.A., and I didn't put the necessary work you had to do to be a good stand-up. If you really want to be a good stand-up, man, you're going to get on stage every night. You're going to write every night. I was just kind of half-assing it, and I was getting a lot of great gigs just on my personality and just people I knew. So now I feel like I really want to put the work in, and that's what I've been doing the past year is putting the work in, not just with my stand-up, but just me as a person, because I feel like, I was in a bad place, and, I'm almost living the life of a diabetic. I got to continue to practice my steps. I got to continue to do, these fundamental things in my life to move forward.
Right now, you are driving up to New York City to be on Gotham Comedy Live on AXS-TV. Some of the things you're going to say up there, are they going to be related to your latest comedy CD, Reckless Operation?
You're such a professional, Ryan.
I try.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be staying in New York all summer. I went through another thing that I don't talk about publicly is my mom had breast cancer, and it was a really tough time in my life and my mom's life, and I was in a weird spot. We weren't really necessarily that close, and I was wrestling with these demons from when I was a child, and now I'm in a position where I have to take care of her when she wasn't there for me when I was younger. So it was a tough period, but ultimately it makes you forgive and forget and move forward, and, because I realize it's tumultuous and crazy as my relationship has been with my mom, and at times abusive, she is my mom. So that's one of the reasons I was like, why are you in Cleveland? Why in Cleveland? Is just because I kind of had to be there, But now she's in remission. She's doing well right now. She has to go back for a couple tests. But I want to kind of stay close, but I kind of want to leave. So I'm going to stay in New York all summer and just work from there. And I got some cool opportunities and some stuff I'm working on. By the way, I never answered your question. I just started go ahead. But yeah, what am I going to do on stage for my parents? Yeah, it's just some stuff I've been working on. I've been trying. I can get on stage every night to figure out what. Cause I got, it's my first TV appearance for stand-up comedy, and it's 4 comics, Norm Macdonald's hosting, and I want to have it be the best representation of who I am and what I want to put out there. So I'm just trying to figure it out. So I'm definitely talking about. The craziness, getting the DUI, being drunk and out of my mind in a Kohl's department store. So I talk about all those experiences on stage and, growing up, single-parent household. I just kind of want to present me. This is what I am. I'm not perfect. I'm kind of an idiot, but I'm forthcoming, I'm honest, and this is what it is.
So what happened when you went to Kohl's? Because they got put on blast on the radio, and I thought it was weird in the fact that it just came off obsessive. You know what I mean?
Oh, it was obsessive. And the sad part is I had been talking about it on stage.
Yeah.
And it happened months prior, and I was talking about it on stage, but it was still a pending legal situation.
Yeah.
But that was I guess you would say it was my bottom. I was in a bad spot, man. I was relapsing. I was drunk, and this is the story. I was in a Kohl's department store. First of all, I don't even know how I got there.
Are you serious, dude?
I was I was on a 3-day bender of just booze. It was just, I was Johnny Manziel. I was Manzielling it up.
You were the Johnny Manziel of Cleveland comedy, some might say.
I have empathy for that guy. I know he brings a lot on himself, but that guy's a lost dude right now. He's scared. He's an alcoholic. It's gonna end really bad if he doesn't get help. Luckily enough, I had some people in my life to help me get me back on my feet again. But I understand where he's at. The guy's, he's blowing his life away, and that's what I was doing. And I was just on a 3-day bender. I was in a Kohl's, and I was just like, I'll talk about it now because I don't give a shit. I've been talking about it on stage. So when what's his head brings it up, I'm like, Yeah, no shit, dude.
What's his head? I love that. What's his head?
I don't care about that guy, and trust me, he's got way more things to worry about than what I'm up to.
So what happened?
So I'm drunk, and in my mind, I'm like, I need a blender. And this is the sad part. I have $150 in Kohl's cash. Kohl's cash on my wallet. And in my weird, fucked up state of mind, I was just like, I don't know if it was the word ninja. I don't, but I was just like, I'm gonna just take it. I'll save this Kohl's cash, and I'm just gonna walk out the front door with this blender. And
oh my God! So what happened when you walk out of Kohl's taking the blender? Yeah. Do they see you immediately? Does the alarm go off? What the fuck happened?
Yeah, the security. Like, I got in my car. By the way, my driving privileges were all screwed up, so that got dropped. But anyways, the Kohl's security people pulled me over with the cops in town, and they asked me. They're like, "Did you pay for that blender?" And the first thing I swear to God, I was drunk. I should have got a DUI. I was like, first of all, how'd you see me? Like, I was like amazed because I thought I was like being sneaky. I thought I was like, I didn't care I was in trouble. I was just like, how did you see? I thought I was being slick. And this is the best part. After all this happened, the next day I woke up. And the cop was really cool because he knew me from the radio, and he was really cool and support. He knew I was in a bad place. I woke up the next day, and you ever just get drunk and you wake up and you try to piece things together? Like, I was trying to, like, did that really happen?
Yes, every weekend in Cleveland.
Yeah, so I go down to the kitchen, and I already own a Ninja blender. I own a Ninja blender. I use the NutriBullet because it's a better blender, in my opinion. But I own it. But for some reason, I felt like I needed a Ninja blender. I don't understand. Like, that's how fucked up I was.
Dude, that is quite the tale. And what I love, too, was being put on blast on the radio at first made you look bad, but you just used it for material. It worked out for you in the end, you know?
Well, there's more. I don't want to talk too much about it because I'm consulting with. I have my high school friend. He handles defamation situations, and there's a lot more going on, way more than I can even speak of. Yeah. So, I know what you mean. I don't know what direction, but a case is being built, and so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I don't know. All I'm going to say, just whoever is trying to do things to me, you might want to put your. You might want to put your interest elsewhere. That's all I'm going to say.
Isn't it weird when you get tweets? Now, when I get talked about on the radio, it's a lot less mean because I don't have that many skeletons in the closet like you. But isn't it weird when you wake up in the morning and you see the tweets and you're like, oh, I'm being talked about on the radio? Isn't that just odd?
Well, what's odd is like I don't even listen. So I get notified via social media or something. But I got to tell you, with a couple of idiots, everybody was really cool, and they're just very dismissive of. I mean, people can see through bullshit, and they saw right through what he was doing. He's a mean-spirited person, and they know. I mean, it's just obvious the guy's fucking jealous or something. Like the guy has issues. Hey, man, my name's Chad Zumock. Google me. Who gives a shit? Look up anything on me.
Everyone should be scared of the big bad Chad. Here he comes.
No, I'm not even big and bad. I'm not hiding shit. I just told you I stole a Ninja blender. Who gives a fuck? Like, what do you want? Like, I'm not the guy hiding stuff.
I know what you mean, man. So what I want to ask you now is this. How focused are you for your gig?
No, it's AXS-TV. No, it's cool, man. Mark Cuban owns that network. It's on all the cable providers, and it's like if you're a comic right now, it's like what everybody wants to be on. It's like the hot show. Back in the day, it was Comedy Central's premium blend that, like everyone kind of debuted on. Tosh, Judith Freelander, Dane Cook. It was always hosted by like a big name. Well, this is like kind of the same thing, but it's on a different network, and No, I'm excited that I got asked. I mean, it was really cool, and it's just I'm getting contact by representation, and I always loved Artie Lang. I talked about that, a comic on the radio. Like I always wanted to be a comedian on the radio, like Jim Norton, who you had on your podcast. Like I really, but that industry, man, like I don't even know if I even would want to go back to it. I'm in my zone when I'm with comedians. I'm in my comfort level, but it's just, maybe I just had a bad experience, but.
Make something of your podcast. Podcasts are the next up-and-coming thing. You have connections in the business. You know people. Make Sit Down Zumock a name for itself, dude.
I get a lot of downloads. It's just so much work. Like I see what you're doing with your podcast. Like I have so many things going on, like 2 more projects. It's just, it's hard to maintain, call someone, hey, you want to be on the podcast? And I don't like doing solo. Like I've done it. It's just not fun. I always enjoyed interacting, having conversations like this, possibly an interview. I have them. I try to release a new episode every Monday, but the last 2 weeks I haven't been able to do that, but I got some stuff coming. Yeah, definitely. It's just, and I don't think I want to work for like a corporation again, because it's just, it's not fun.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I get to pop on the Bob and Tom show every now and then, and they're so good, the comics, and they're so nice to me that's good enough. I'm cool with that.
So how did you get that position every once in a while to sit in when Bob would be on vacation and now he retired? How did you get that foot in the door with the Bob and Tom show?
They just kind of liked me. It wasn't even like, I know like Roy Wood Jr., who's on The Daily Show, has done it a few times. So they have people guest host the show now, and it's kind of a rotating chair, and It's like I'd say like a group of 10, and I'm just one of the guys, and it's cool. They're so good. They've been around forever, and they've done everything. They've achieved everything. They could retire happily right now, but Tom just loves radio, and he loves doing that. So, and they're just good people, man, and they treat comics so well. There's so many, that's what gives me hope in radio, is like shows like Bob and Tom, shows like Wheeze, who you had on the podcast.
Kelta.
Mike Kelta. That's what gives me hope. Ron Bennington, I'm going on his show this week.
You are? You going on Bennington?
Yeah.
Good job, dude.
Yeah, I'm pumped about that. He's awesome. If you ever hear those Unmasked he does, those interviews, he's the best. Him and Stern are the best interviewers out there. They're amazing. They're
Dude,
so good.
I'm pumped for you, man. How in the zone are you to go on Bennington?
I'm also doing your boy Eric Nagel's podcast the day after or radio show the day after I do the Access show.
Dude, Eric Nagel is one of the most humble and classiest dudes in this business, and he knows his radio, which I respect. He knows talent.
Well, I mean, that whole channel, Opie and Jim, they're just great. Man, they get because there's such a love between comedians and radio, and they get it. And that, man, all those guys on that station, Sam Roberts, they do a great job. I only listen to Sirius XM radio. I don't listen to terrestrial radio. Like I listened to Mike Helta when I wrote for his roast, just to get an idea, and I really liked his vibe, and I liked how he handled himself, so I was entertained by that. But there's so many restrictions to terrestrial radio. There's so much stuff you can't do. So like you said, podcasting and XM is what I listen to. That's because I also know all the bullshit and tricks they do in terrestrial. I can't enjoy it, if that makes sense.
Now, before I let you go, why should they watch you when you'll be on AXS-TV on May 12th?
Well, the cool thing is, even if you don't want to watch me, I don't give a shit because I'm going to get paid doing. So regardless, as long as the check cashes. But just because I don't know. I think if there's some little bit of validation for, all those years of open mics, comedy condos, on the road, getting charged with a DUI in the public eye, just getting beat up by people, being counted out when I was down. I think there's validation to me continuing forward and staying the course and not giving up. And for me, it's just a little benchmark in trying to do what I love to do, which is to entertain, write, and perform. And I hope it comes off well. You can't ask for a better host, Norm Macdonald. That's going to be awesome. I love Norm Macdonald. So I'm excited, and I hope it's good, and I hope people support it and watch it and buy my album. And, and And if you don't like me, that's fine. It's more reason to watch this. You can watch it and make fun of me. I don't care.
What I love about the haters that listen is they go, oh, you fucking suck. Oh, you're a hack, whatever. But they gave you a listen. You know what I mean?
Well, when I had my afternoon show, my whole thing was I wanted to be different in radio. I wanted to change radio. Like, I didn't want to go because everyone just steals ideas and stuff like that and copies people. I wanted to be original. So a lot of people will go on air and they put on a fake persona and they'll like say things that they don't necessarily believe, but they just want people to like them. So
yeah, they do it to get the reaction out of the listeners, you know?
Yeah, or they want to come off a certain way. Like, I would just speak how I felt. And if I came off as a dick at times, I was being honest. Because, and some people respected that. Some people didn't like it. I don't know. But I would challenge the host all the time because, I didn't see eye to eye with him half the time. I'm not going to pretend. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, I'm not going to kiss his ass for the ego. So if I don't agree with something, I'm just going to challenge it. And I never back down. And, regardless of what you thought, I'm assuming a lot of people from Cleveland are listening to this, so they'll probably know what I'm talking about. But, I just try to be real.
Now, if people from Tampa Bay, where I get listens, are listening to, or in Toronto, Grand Rapids, etc., if they are listening to this interview and they want to know more about you and where they can find your work, where is that possible, Chad Zumock?
Follow Ryan Hoppe because he'll be tweeting it out every 5 seconds.
You need to retweet this too, dude.
No, I want to get down to Tampa, man. I want to get booked at the Improv or Side Splitters because I'd love to come on Cal's show. I mean, actually, you know what? I might as well plug something. You're Mr. Rob Gargiulo. I said that right?
Rob Gargiulo. Come on, bro.
Gargiulo. Rob, he's Mike's producer, does an extraordinary job on that show. He's going to be doing some shows with Florentine and I this weekend. We're going to be in Daytona Beach at the Bonkers, doing 2 shows there. And then we're at the Comedy Zone in Jacksonville, and Rob's coming out to do spots. And dude, he's all in. He's all in. He's putting in the work as a comic. He's doing exactly what you're supposed to do. He has a unique voice. He's like me. We love radio. We love comedy, and he's on the perfect show to do what he does. And I said, dude, you should get on those stages, man, because guess what? I've never been unemployed. You'll always have a job if you're in comedy, you know?
Damn right, man. Well, Chad, keep up the good work. Let's make sure that 2016 is the year you don't get unemployed, and let's see this be the year that you explode.
Well, the same with you, Ryan. Stay the course, and I swear to God, there's got to be a morning show you can produce out there because the level of guests that you give for your podcast it's ridiculous. I mean, you do a great job, man, and I don't understand why you're not producing a morning show somewhere. I stay the course. I think something will happen.
Please don't flatter my ego too much, Chad. Come on.
Yeah. You're doing good, man. And, again, don't let negative people try to bring you down, brother.
There's not enough time in a day to let negative people bring you down for their own material. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Ew, don't ever say that again. That's disgusting.
Keep up the good work, Chad.
Keep taking your medicine. Stay happy. See ya.
And that was comedian Chad Zumock as he called into Hoppe Hour to talk about his appearance coming up May 12th on AXS-TV. Now, if you're a fan of Chad or the previous show I worked on, or if you want to know more about Hoppe Hour, it's not hard. It's not rocket science. Go to the app shop for Google Play and the iPhone. Search up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. You can hear all 130 interviews I've done since July, including Nick DiPaolo, Jim Norton, Bobby Slayton, Eric Nagel, and 126 others. And when I do rants live, you can chat me. Also, go to my website, RyanHoppeRadio.com. Tweet at me, at Ryan Hoppe Radio. And guess what my email is? It's RyanHoppeRadio@gmail.com if you want to be a sponsor or you want to collaborate and whatnot. This has been Hoppe Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out, and I appreciate you listening.
Hoppe Hour. Hoppe Hour.